Disclaimer: this story contains mature themes intended for adult viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. The first thing I remember is his eyes, slow, deliberate, holding mine longer than polite conversation should allow. We were both halfway through a laugh when the room narrowed into that look, small, dangerous, familiar. He smiled, but it was a different sort of smile, the kind that made the air warm and the rest of the world a soft blur. For a beat that felt much longer than a beat, I felt the corner of a boundary tilt. We were on my couch, a thin lamp casting a pool of amber over the cushions, rain tapping like a steady hand against the window. An old movie murmured in the background, more soundtrack than story. I had on one of his oversized shirts, light cotton, worn at the collar, and the sensation of it against skin felt private in a way that made me both steady and unsteady at once. The blanket was pulled at our feet. The apartment smelled faintly of coffee and lemon-scented soap, ordinary things that suddenly seemed charged. Small movements drew the space between us tighter. He shifted, the couch sighing, and the sofa arm drew our shoulders nearer without us meaning to. I noticed how his fingers curled, not yet touching, only near, and how his breath seemed to find a rhythm that matched mine. There were unspoken rules that should have kept us measured, the polite distance of friends, the casualness of company. But those rules softened, frayed, and then hummed like an electric current you could feel if you stood still enough. The light blinked once, twice, and in the blinking the familiar became more dangerous. The ordinary air seemed to hold its breath. His hand moved carefully, as if testing the temperature of a thought, and rested near my thigh, a light, hesitant contact that said more than words could. It was not violent or crude, it was an invitation folded into a touch. I felt heat flush up from somewhere behind my ribs, a slow, blooming awareness that this was a moment where choice and desire met. All at once the room felt both too small and perfectly right. The film played on, indifferent. Outside, rain grew louder. Inside, everything slowed, the lamp, the hum of the fridge, the tick of the clock, so that what mattered sharpened. His breath, the press of fabric, the small, deliberate tilt of his head. I swallowed and realized I was listening for the next pause, for the next step. The moment held, electric, and I knew it was only going to go one way or another. He had moved in just 2 months ago, a favor between mutual friends who said we'd get along fine. And we had. Too well, maybe. We shared morning coffees, swapped playlists, and somehow always found ourselves in the kitchen at the same time. There was laughter, yes. But underneath that ease was something more complicated, more magnetic. Tonight, that tension was a pulse between us. "I didn't think you'd be home early," I said, shifting slightly as his knee brushed mine, not moving away, not really. My voice was too even, considering how aware I was of how close he sat. He smiled, looking at me, not the screen. "Didn't feel like staying out." I glanced down at our hands. Mine rested on my thigh. His was just an inch away on the cushion, fingers drumming softly, then still. I wondered if he was thinking about moving it closer. I was. "Long day?" I asked, my voice quieter now, more for him than for conversation. He nodded, and his eyes lingered not at my face, but somewhere just beneath it, before catching himself and blinking slowly. You could say that. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was thick, full of breath, warmth, and wanting. I laughed softly, brushing my hair back behind my ear. "You're staring." "You noticed," he said, and his voice dipped low, unhurried, honest. I turned toward him, legs folding under me, the shirt falling loose but still decent. I leaned my shoulder against the back cushion. "So, are you going to say something, or just keep looking at me like that?" He looked down, smiled, then back up. I wasn't sure I should. "Why not?" I whispered. My heart beat faster. "Because once I do, we can't pretend anymore." I swallowed hard. Something in my chest twisted, nerves need both. The movie's credits began to roll unnoticed. His hand moved, brushing mine, fingers tentative, like asking a question without words. I didn't pull away. I let mine turn, palm up, meeting his. Our fingers laced. I think we stopped pretending a while ago, I said. He leaned in, just a little, eyes flicking to my lips then back to my eyes. We didn't kiss. But our foreheads touched, a quiet breath shared in the space between us, close enough to feel each other's hesitation, close enough to know we were both ready to cross the line. And then I smiled, slow and soft. Let's not rush. He nodded, not moving back. No rush. But neither of us let go. The room was dim now, the rain outside a soft, steady whisper against the glass. The movie was long over, but neither of us had moved, caught in the echo of something we weren't supposed to want. We sat quietly, the space between us charged, heavier than silence should allow. He turned his head slightly, his voice low. This, whatever this is. It feels like crossing a line. My eyes met his slower this time, held longer. I know, I whispered. It scares me. But I didn't move away. The truth was, this tension hadn't started tonight. It had been building in glances held too long across a kitchen counter, in late-night conversations that went deeper than casual friendship, and in the way we always seemed to find each other's presence even in silence. I had told myself it was harmless, that I just enjoyed the company. But that wasn't true anymore. You've been different lately, he said, almost to himself. Like you're holding back. I looked down, fiddling with the edge of the shirt sleeve draped over my thigh. So have you. His hand brushed mine again, lightly, deliberately, and this time, neither of us pulled back. My breath caught. His thumb traced a soft line over the back of my fingers, and it felt like my skin was learning something new. I shouldn't want this, he murmured. But you do, I said. My voice trembled, not from fear, from honesty. He leaned a fraction closer. Not enough to touch me. Just enough for me to feel his warmth, to smell his cologne, something clean, familiar. His gaze moved to my lips and hovered there. My heartbeat pounded like a warning and a plea at the same time. I think about it all the time, I admitted, barely audible. What it would feel like if I let this happen. The air pulsed between us. My whole body was aware of him, the curve of his shoulder, the soft rasp in his breath, the tension in his jaw. We were teetering on the edge of something dangerous, tender, real. He leaned in slow. His forehead rested gently against mine again. Our noses nearly touched. Say stop, he whispered. I didn't. I couldn't. But I didn't say go either. We stayed there, breath to breath, lips just apart, suspended in a moment where the next move could change everything. Then a knock at the door. The knock faded into silence. Neither of us moved. We sat frozen, still pressed close, our foreheads lightly touching. Outside, the rain had quieted, but inside, everything beat louder, the hush of our breath, the quick rhythm of my heart, the low hum of tension now too strong to ignore. He finally pulled back just an inch, his eyes searching mine. Are you okay? I nodded, swallowing hard. Yeah. Are you? He smiled, but it was tight, uncertain. I don't know. We both laughed, nervous, breathy, like we had just leaned over a cliff and realized how far down it went. The couch creaked as I shifted, turning toward him fully. His hand was still touching mine, now more confidently, thumb brushing small circles on my palm. The room felt warmer. Or maybe I just did. I tucked my knees under me again, the hem of the shirt falling gently around my thighs. It wasn't the fabric I was thinking about. It was the space, or lack of it, between us. He leaned forward, elbow resting on the back cushion, his other hand still holding mine. His face was close, so close I could see every flicker of emotion in his eyes. Hesitation, hunger, restraint. You make it really hard to think straight, he said softly. Then don't think, I whispered. Just feel. The tension was unbearable now, every second thick with unspoken permission. My breath hitched as he reached up and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear, a small, intimate gesture that sent a warm shiver down my neck. We didn't speak again. We didn't have to. The world outside the window disappeared. It was just us now, breath to breath, heat meeting heat, held together by want and uncertainty. My fingers gripped the fabric of his sleeve. His hand cupped the side of my face, slowly, reverently, like he was afraid I might vanish if he touched me too fast. His nose brushed mine. Lips parted. Our eyes fluttered closed. The moment stretched, suspended between fear and surrender. And then, my phone buzzed loudly on the table. We both jumped, breaking apart like waking from a dream. His hand dropped. I leaned back. We stared at each other, breathless, the spell not broken, just paused. Neither of us reached for the phone. We just sat there, eyes locked, knowing we were closer than ever. And we both still wanted more. The buzzing stopped. Silence returned, thick and unresolved. He leaned back slightly, running a hand through his hair, trying to shake off the moment. I did the same, fingers trembling as they tucked into the couch cushion like grounding wires. Then the knock came again. We froze. This time, the voice followed. "Hey, you home?" It was Rachel, my best friend. His panic flared between us, immediate and sharp. She had no idea. Or maybe she did. She'd introduced us, casually, innocently, never imagining this spark might ignite. But lately, she had asked questions. Noticed silences. Watched us a little too closely. I stood, my breath shallow, heart thudding. "She can't see us like this." He nodded, already moving. "I'll go out the back." I grabbed his wrist. "Wait." Our eyes met again, flushed, guilty, but burning. "I don't regret it," he said, low and urgent. I swallowed, throat tight. "That's the problem." He slipped out the side door just as I opened the front. Rachel stood with a bottle of wine and her usual bright smile. "Thought you might need company." Perfect timing, I managed, pulling her into a hug I didn't mean. My body still buzzed from his hands, his breath, his almost kiss. But even as she laughed and walked in, I felt it. The truth between us hadn't disappeared. It had just gone quiet. For now. Later that night, after Rachel left, after I'd smiled too much, laughed too loud, and lied too well, I found him on the balcony. The rain had stopped, but the air was still wet, heavy. "You okay?" I asked, stepping beside him. "I shouldn't have come back," he murmured, looking out at the dark street. "But you did." He turned to me. "Because I couldn't stay away." The words hit like heat. I moved closer, heart loud in my ears. "We keep saying it's wrong. But it doesn't feel wrong." "No," he said. "It feels like the only thing that makes sense." We stood there in silence, so close I could feel his body, not touching, but near enough to burn. I watched his chest rise and fall. He watched my lips. Our hands found each other again, instinctively. "You should go," I whispered. "I know," he replied, not moving. I tilted my head up. His fingers brushed the side of my face, slow, gentle, reverent. This time, we didn't pull back. His lips met mine, soft at first, searching, then deeper. The kiss wasn't rushed. It was quiet, like a truth finally spoken. His hands framed my jaw. Mine slipped beneath his shirt, feeling warmth and tension beneath skin. We weren't hiding anymore. The world around us fell away, no more knocks, no more doubts. Just this moment, stolen and real. We had crossed the line. And neither of us wanted to go back. The rain had stopped hours ago, but the air still shimmered with the kind of quiet only midnight can hold. Inside, the world felt small, just walls, shadows, and the pulse between us. His lips were on mine again, but this time it wasn't cautious. It was real. Full. The way someone kisses when there's nothing left to hold back. My hands slid up beneath his shirt, feeling the tight pull of his back as he pressed into me. His warmth, his breath, the low sound he made, it was everything we'd avoided, finally set free. Clothes didn't fall away like in the movies. They were tugged gently, slowly, as if neither of us wanted to break the moment by rushing it. We moved together like we already knew the rhythm. The couch, the dim light, the quiet house, it all faded until there was only skin, heartbeats, and the soft sounds of surrender. But even in the heat, there was something tender. His forehead rested against mine. His voice was barely a whisper. "I didn't think this would mean so much." My fingers stilled. That was the twist. This wasn't just chemistry anymore. I thought this was. Temporary, I said, breath shaking. But it's not, is it? He looked at me, not just at my body, but into me. No, it's not. We stayed there, tangled in each other, our bodies still burning, but now with something more than want. It was affection, fear, hope. I'm scared, I confessed, a tear threatening but not falling. He kissed my cheek, not out of lust, but comfort. So am I. We lay in silence, breathing together, skin warm against skin. His hand found mine again, fingers locking naturally. Then his phone buzzed. We both looked. It was a message. From Rachel. We need to talk. I know something's going on. The moment cracked. He sat up slowly, wiping a hand down his face. I have to tell her. I nodded, heart thudding. And I have to decide if I can lose her for this. He turned to me. Would it be worth it? I looked at him, at everything we had just shared, and everything we might risk. I think, I said softly, this could be the start of something real. And though the air cooled and consequences crept in, we didn't move apart. We kissed again, slower now, but full of promise. The storm outside had passed, but the one inside us had just begun. The room was quiet again. The storm had long passed, but something inside me still felt warm, flickering like candlelight. We lay together on the couch, limbs tangled beneath the blanket, our breathing soft and slow, not from desire now, but from peace. The kind that only comes after a truth is finally spoken, and nothing's left to hide. His fingers brushed lazy circles on my back. Every now and then, his lips would press against my shoulder, not to seduce, but to remind me he was still there. Still choosing this. I never expected it to be this real, I said quietly, breaking the silence. He looked down at me. Me neither. I didn't think I deserved something that felt this right. The clock on the wall ticked softly. The movie credits had long faded. Outside, the streets glistened under wet city lights, but inside, everything felt safe, wrapped in low lamplight and the kind of quiet that made you want to stay just a little longer. I turned to face him. His face was relaxed now, stripped of the tension he carried earlier. His eyes, warm and unreadable, met mine. What happens now? I asked. He smiled gently, running his hand through my hair. Now, we figure it out. He kissed me again, slow, deep, but not rushed. The kind of kiss that says I see you. I'm here. And I kissed him back, knowing something had changed. This wasn't a secret anymore. It was a beginning. We stayed curled up until the first signs of dawn started peeking through the blinds. Neither of us said much after that, we didn't have to. Our bodies were close, our hearts finally quiet. The choice had been made. Not out of impulse or lust, but out of connection. Something undeniable and now unforgettable. And as the city woke slowly outside, I smiled to myself, because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't afraid of what came next.